Hi, my name is Deirdre Batchelor. I am a middle school teacher in New Jersey, and today I'm going to give an introduction and overview of Google Classroom. So first, you're going to want to make sure you are logged into your Google account. Your name will appear and your icon. The first thing I want to show you is a great resource that I use from Alice Keeler, and she is what I usually refer to as the guru of Google Classroom and other tech ed items you can use in your classroom. Her web address is www.alicekeeler.com. She has a lot of articles and actually she has a whole section on Google Classroom alone, which goes through a step-by-step process of how to use Google Classroom and different tips for Google Classroom. She's an excellent resource to use. So this is my Google Classroom homepage. And what you want to do is, first I'm going to show you a little bit about it. This is where you would go to join a class or create a class. And you know you're logged in because your name is at the right-hand side. These are all of your classes available. And you can link with your Google Calendar if you want to. The top ones are your teaching classes, the ones that you have students enrolled in, and I have a lot. And then the bottom ones are the ones that you are enrolled in. And finally, on the bottom are archived classes that you have put away that you don't need anymore, and then your settings. So once you create a class, you're going to either join a class or create a class. If you join a class, that means that somebody is giving you an access code, which I'll show you in a minute, and you are becoming a student in that class, or you could be possibly becoming a teacher in that class. If you want to create a class, you're going to name the class. And this might be an area where you would put the period you have the class. So for example, I teach Spanish. So my class would be Spanish, maybe 6th grade, because I teach multiple grade levels. And then I might put period 3 and create the class. And as my class is creating, I can see that now it has popped up. Once you're in it, your title will be displayed in the middle along with your name and your icon since you're the teacher. You can select a different theme or a pattern to represent your class. I usually like to have each class as a different color and a different theme so I can see it a lot easier in my when it's in my homepage. Or you can upload your own photo from the computer. Once you're in the Google class, this is your main board. So before you start anything, you should go to the About section of your class, and these are all optional here. You can put the title, the description of the class, and where the class meets, and then click Save if you want. I usually don't do that. You can invite another teacher to be a part of the class. In my school, we have a lot of teachers that have classes that have 2 teachers. Maybe there's a support teacher for special ed students. And that's a good area where you can invite another teacher. However, if another teacher is invited here, they will have access to all of the work that is submitted to this class. So if you only have 3 or 4 kids in a class, then the teacher, you as being invited, will see all of the work from every class. You can add materials to the class, which maybe would be your syllabus or unit documents, something that the kids would need access to or want access to all the time. In the students tab, you can invite students by email. My school doesn't use the email yet, so I don't usually use that. Instead, what I do is I give the class code the first day of the class, and I put it on the board, and the kids simply they go on their Google Classroom and they click join a class and they add the code. These are some options you can choose for your students on this classroom, which can always be changed to fit to your assignment or what you're doing in class that day. Students can post documents, or they can post an idea or a question, and then they can also comment. They possibly could only comment if you post a question, or you can only post and comment and the students have no rights. The class code is right here. You can reset it if you want, if there's maybe letters that might be tricky, like zeros or L's, and you can disable it, meaning that anybody could get in if they want to. So let me show you what a class looks like. that I have. This is an activities class that I have for my sixth graders where I post anything that is work, questions that the kids just need to get off of. They wouldn't submit anything to this because I have separate sections for each class also. So I have third period, sixth grade, second period, seventh grade. Because if they submit work to this class, it goes into one folder. I don't want all of my sixth graders' work to be in one folder. I want them to be separate. So that's why I did it that way. And you can see my students commented the other day. So this class has commenting rights. And if I want to rename or unenroll this to a class, you go back to the home page. And in the top right corner, there are 3 dots. So this is one of my classes. So I can either rename it or I can archive it, which is kind of like deleting it. It just goes off of this main page, but it doesn't technically get deleted. It just goes into your archives, which you can find in your scroll down menu down here. And what's really cool about Google in general is that they have these keys down here for help. What's new? Google Classroom itself is always changing because teaching is always changing. So Google is trying to keep up with it, and they are taking a lot of feedback from teachers and they are making updates. So you can find out what's new about Google Classroom by clicking on the question mark symbol at the bottom left corner and going to what's new. You can send them feedback, and I have done that, and it's, the next time I've looked or used Google Classroom, it was changed to reflect my feedback. I don't think it was just me. I'm sure other teachers did too, but it did reflect my feedback. You can also ask a question or get help. So let's go back. I want to show you again. This is actually what it looks like when someone invites you to be a teacher. So I'm going to accept this because I would like to be a co-teacher of this class, and I would like to be able to put documents in here for my other colleagues to get to. So you can actually make it for your colleagues to use also as a group. I'm going to show you my third period class, and I want to show you, once you have students in the class, what it looks like. So the students, here are all my students. My students do not have Google email yet, so I cannot email them. But if you check off everything, one of your options could be to email all of your students. You can remove students, and if you click mute, that means that the student, even if it says that they can post and comment, if you click mute, that means that the student cannot do that. And you can then go back in. So if I mute all of my students, that means they cannot, there's a little mute symbol, they cannot post or comment anymore. And then I could just click on it again, and I can go back and unmute them if I want to. So Google Classroom has kind of 3 different levels of how you can use it. I usually say that a novice level of a Google Classroom user would be something more like my Actividades de la Clase for 6th grade or my 7th grade class, where I just post things and students take them, or I might post a map that I want them to click on. I post my do now or my starter that I want them to all look at and answer and comment on. Here's another example of where I give them just a document that I then want them all to get, and I told them what they need to do. Open it, make a copy, put your name in it. I gave them directions. Another option would be more what my individual classes are, my individual periods, where I give them something to do and then I give them a due date, and I'm going to do a separate video on that. But this is kind of more the intermediate level where you're giving the students work and they are submitting it. And finally, the more advanced level is where you can manipulate and organize the Google Classroom folders where all of your work goes. So I'm going to do a couple more videos about Google Classroom and more specific things and ways I use them. But I hope this one has been helpful and you can use it in your classroom. Thank you.